Hey everybody, it's Robert Dunt, founder of arttop10.com, and I'm here at the Collyer Bristow gallery with the In the Future exhibition, and I'm very pleased to be talking to Alison Turnbull. Hello Alison, very nice to see you. So give us a little intro into your work before we go into your special room.
My special room?
Yeah.
Well, in some ways this is perhaps one of the more difficult paintings to talk about, because it doesn't actually refer in a direct way to anything outside of art, really, outside itself. And I make a lot of work with grids and found grids, found objects, and perhaps this is a good moment just to talk about how I made the work.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, because it's got very nice little lines.
The kind of the physical aspect of my painting.
Yeah, no,
please do. I'm always quite I'm quite interested in the idea of painting. My paintings can look very different from when you're standing at a distance to when you get in close, and I hope that there's a sort of sensual reward when you get in close. And the kind of graphic element fades away, and you've got something which is much more...
It's a nice description, actually, because when you do get up close, you can feel all the little... you can get a sense of all those little blobs, and they've got a little sort of humanity to them.
It's actually quite... not messy, but it
no, it's not messy, but certainly they've got little bits of texture in the different
mechanical
ones. Yeah.
And so this painting is made on very fine canvas, which is stretched onto board.
It's like linen.
Which allows me to have
stretched onto board?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You want to keep that sort of...
So I have the texture of canvas, which I really love, but I also have the hard surface.
Yeah, you don't want to
so I can use rulers, I can sand it off.
Oh, I see, okay, very
nice. And I can change
the
painting without necessarily building up paint and making a sort of...
Oh, you want to make it almost invisible, the work.
Yeah. And then I draw a grid with some silver point, which is a very interesting way of making a line, because unlike pencil or paintbrush or a crayon, you're not actually putting anything onto the surface, you're taking something away. So the silver is a chemical reaction with the painted ground.
Okay, so
it remains very clean.
Is the silver point an etching?
No, it's just a piece of silver.
Oh, it's just literally a piece of silver?
Yeah.
And you scrape it across, as it were?
So you just draw with it, really. And it gives a very constant line. So I use that quite a lot as kind of under drawing. And then here the grid is diagonal, unlike a lot of the other more right angle grids in some of the other work. And then it's quite simple. At the intersections, I just place a dot of enamel paint. And
so are they regular places?
They're in this painting to create a sense of the almost of the colour or the grey scale kind of falling down to the bottom of the painting. I started out, I sort of just added more as I went. So not every intersection receives its dot. No. And as I'm working, try as I might, I can't keep consistency, because you've got the paint, you've got my hand, which is not still,
and
you
want a bit of
you've
chaos,
got the sort of vagaries of time, and so I build it up slowly.
But it is interesting. It does. I think because even when you look at it, it sort of references for me things like from a distance the stars or the universe, especially within the show as it is, with a hint of sci-fi within the show. But then when you get closer, you get a little sort of sense of rain coming down. Yeah. It's nice.
It is. Well, I have, as we'll see, I have worked much more directly with things to do with space, and so that painting, that sense of a constellation might be a kind of echo, really, with some of the work in here.
Because I think the work in here is from different sort of pieces of work you've done, isn't it? So it's not all one coherent thing. You've got quite nice to have different parts of.
No, I mean for me that's been quite
traumatic.
Not traumatic, the opposite. Quite gratifying to think that these things that in my mind's eye are sort of quite disparate, and because I'm seeing them for the first time together, and someone else has kind of, by curating in this way, has kind of made connections which then I can now pick up on. That's really...
Because it actually looks very coherent.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, they're obviously
related.
my work and related, and, there are there are themes that I've been pursuing for a long time. But,
so what would the different sort of themes be in this one?
Well, this which is the largest painting here. I do also work really on a very big scale, but they're not here. And it relates also to
the other one that's similar to
black painting there. And it takes as its starting point an image of the made by the Hubble Space Telescope. And when that image was made in 2012, I think it's probably been superseded now. It actually was of the sort of deepest space, the image of the most of time, really, of the furthest away, deepest space that had ever been made. And I was very interested in the way the image had actually been constructed from 2,000 different images by astronomers. So
fascinating, isn't it?
It was a bit like an old master painting.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
It's kind of dense moment in time. And I took it as my starting point, but obviously those images of space have a kind of diffuse vagueness about them, the sort of poetics of the night sky. You can't really focus on the shapes.
Exactly.
Whereas
That's why it's strong.
took those shapes and I made them much crisper. So they're like units of language, like words or letters, sentences.
No, I like, but it's nice actually. I like it. It's actually you get a real nice thing is when the light hits the canvas and you get the different blacks appearing, the black shapes in it. It's really nice the way that works.
Yeah, I wanted to have echoes of some of the shapes, although they're not they're not direct echoes. They're sort of suggestions that have this kind of would be sort of playing with the idea of matte and. Nothing's really gloss here, but something that's a bit shinier.
Oh, but exactly.
The idea of blacks being as various as any other colour.
Yeah, I really like actually. You can also see you can see the canvas, you can see the stretch of the canvas, and it's almost got like adds another thing to it. Each of the tiny little bits of what's there build up into a sort of nice sense of movement in a whole. Is this an earlier or later work than the one we just looked at?
It's earlier.
It's earlier, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's probably earlier. Fascinating. And what about these ones? Were these earlier?
Well, the works on paper that I've got here are, again, related to the paintings, but they're from a very large body of work that I've been making on found stationery.
Yeah, I noticed it was found stationery. Is it a record of major repairs and improvements carried out by landlord? These are
actually this sort of group is all stationery that I found and was given in a country estate in Gloucestershire.
Oh, really? Cool.
So some of these are really quite old historical things. I mean, this is from the 30s, and that blue one over there, actually, the paper dates from the late 19th century.
Oh wow, that's a fantastic bit of paper. It's fascinating.
And this is something that was in the estate office.
It's like grouse and things like that.
Yeah, so that would be that's a 19th century thing where people would record
the animals and record what they killed.
Record grouse, partridge, pheasant, hares.
Yeah.
And so I take these found things. So unlike the paintings where some of them it's the images found, here it's the actual support itself.
Okay.
And I do things to them more or less. And say, for example, this one, which is a paper from the 1960s. It's actually just a line notebook. I've turned the lines into a grid. So
that's cool. So you did nothing to it?
No, I did. There were horizontal lines. So it was a line notebook, and with a pen of a similar
colour,
identical but similar colour to the lines. I just made a grid. So
it's really cool. I like that.
So
it's kind of impossible sort of to tell what you've done, but it looks rather lovely.
Yeah, I quite like it when there's a tension between what's found and what's drawn. That you might actually.
So you almost create things that could be real but aren't. Almost. Does that mean?
Well, I mean, once they're here in the world, they are real.
Oh no, they are totally. Yeah, so it's almost like. So where would you say you're trying to take the viewer? What sort of?
I wouldn't say I'm trying to take the viewer anywhere.
Okay.
I'm sort of just doing something, and I'm not really communicating. I'm kind of making an experience, I hope.
Okay.
So I
more
wouldn't
of
say
a
that I'm setting out to.
Communicate. So you're not necessarily communicating something in particular. You're just trying to draw the people into this world. Yeah. Interesting. No, certainly on this one here, I get that because it's. I don't know. I find it very visually very satisfying anyway. But when you think that actually part of it is there before and part of it is what you've put in, that builds up some nice sort of sense of unreality and reality. It's very cool.
Great.
Lovely. Well, I've very much enjoyed looking at them. So,
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much for chatting.
Yeah.
So, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel, and hang on there, and you'll get a link to the next interview. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye.
Nice.
Bumbuckler.